Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you can maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go, because I want to make you feel, I want to just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about. Right now, the Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Your boy Toriano Sanzoni. Yeah. Chanelly Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go. Good morning, Chanelly Nell, are you there?
I'm here, good morning.
Come on, girl, put some bass in your voice, come on.
I'm here, good morning.
Let the world hear you. We have the amazing, beautiful, phenomenal Sharay Thomas is in the house. How are you feeling?
I'm great, hello everyone. Good morning, guys. Hello, Sharay. Good morning.
All right, Sharay, I'm recording you live also on 2 Instagram platforms. So just talk loud so that the microphone can pick you up on these other microphones. We're bootleg over here in Wolfkeeper. We're not that sophisticated yet. So I have 2 other mics that are picking up that mic that are live here in the studio.
I got you.
So we have a tradition here that we like to keep going before we start off, and that's the wolf howl. So on 3, you just got to join in. All right, now we are officially ready. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. The Fridays come around like every other day, seems like.
They're coming here fast.
I can't keep up.
Sharay, how's your Friday so far?
It's been good. It started probably around 6:30, so I'm far into my Friday.
You look all refreshed. You're all I indie fitness trainers because you just always look amazing. Like you're all shiny, bright. Like
fitnessy up, like waking up at like 3 a.m. doing like 10,000 push-ups, 5,000 sit-ups, smoothies, and I'm just like I overate breakfast today.
No, listen, it's all about balance and just being centered. Like, I subscribe to a lot of different, beliefs, but I gotta practice what I preach. So I live in the world that I preach about. So making time to meditate, making time to take care of yourself, like that's the world that I'm living in. So it reflects.
Well, you probably didn't have like 4 pancakes this morning with sausage and bacon and like a big old orange juice. You judging me? As you pull that smoothie out, are you judging me right now?
Not at all. Not at all.
No, I didn't. And you bust out whatever's in there. You're like, no, not at all.
No, this is actually, I just got done working out probably like 30 minutes ago. So this is just like my BCAAs, my amino energy, so that I can stay hydrated after a workout.
Look at it. Chanel, you're a bad influence on me. Chanel.
I haven't even eaten anything today. I don't know. That's probably bad too.
Chanel brings me ice cream in the morning. Chanel's the only person that brings me ice cream in the morning.
Oh, that is a good friend. That is a sweet friend.
You do bring ice cream in the morning.
But of course, he's exaggerating. I bought him some coffee once, and it was like they put too much sugar in it.
You always say that, but it's always consistent. It's not even coffee. It's like an entire like dreamsicle.
But guess what? He drank it all of that complaining. Guess what?
There we go. Because it was delicious. It was delicious. That's why.
It was delicious. So today I'm so excited because we just have had this consistent theme of fitness trainers, yogis, veterans, and Black women veterans. And I just feel so blessed that all that is coming out, because when we started these podcasts, I just do what my heart says to do. I just follow the universe and said, not that I needed one more project. But I know so many diverse people through dog training, and I just feel remiss to not share these beautiful people with the world that I know, just to show people how many amazing people that I know and let them share their information, because I'd have felt selfish if I wasn't sharing the world with the people that I know and talk to. And Sharay, you're just so amazing, because when I first met you, one, you were like coming from a workout or fitness. You were doing something. And I always admire people that are so committed to working out, because that is such a discipline. We talked about this yesterday with the guys from Helix Weaver about eating right, because they're growing agriculture. And then obviously, like my trainer would always say, you can't out-train a bad diet. So that being one, I want to talk about fitness. And then also my heart goes out to all veterans. Anyone that signs up to serve our country just gets mad props. And then specifically women that sign up to serve our country. And then most importantly, Black women that sign up to put their life on the line so that we have the rights and privileges to sit here nonchalantly and have ice cream for breakfast and do podcasts. So like that's a huge big deal. So we got a lot to jam in to this next 45 minutes on the Wolfkeeper show. And we're going to leave people leaving super duper freaking high and ready to go into this Saturday. All right. So I have a series of questions that I prepared that I want to ask you. First, just tell us about Sharay Thomas. Like, where are you from? Who are you? What's your sign? What's your birthday?
All right. Well, I'm not under the zodiac, but my birthday is September 22nd. I'm from Columbus, Georgia. I'm a military brat. My dad was in the Army. My grandfather was in the Army and Air Force. So I've always been a military kid. I moved up to Illinois when I was about, 5 or 6, and I've been a suburbanite in Naperville, Illinois forever. And now that I am an adult, I actually live in Lamont. So I'm still in the suburbs, never really got into the city life, but I live in Lamont now. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm currently at Northern Seminary in Lisle. So That's where I go to school at right now for a master's program, master's in divinity. And I'm a personal trainer in the process. So my journey is definitely unique, but it just reflects the journey and the discipline on the way.
That just gave me goosebumps because, I mean, yesterday that was Tuesday. Was that Tuesday? Chanel Nail, did we have Fatima? No, it was Wednesday. Yeah. But Fatima's military, Air Force. Now she's like grandma, yogi instructor, fitness, and you're military brat, served the country, and now you're doing fitness, and you're in. Did I hear seminary?
Yeah.
Like, what is going? What? I want black women for president all day. That's what we need. They can get it on with run the military at the same time, be kind, cool people. Yes, that's all day.
It is possible. It is possible.
Right. Bible and the rifle. Come on, let's go. All right.
Yep, you already know.
Right. Oh man, I wish Fatima would call in because I just had so much fun in that interview. So let's bring us back though, because I'm just my great grandfather, Edwin Williams, was Navy, National Guard, Chicago police officer. My other grandfather, William Buford, U.S. Army, County Sheriff. Father, Thomas Sanzoni, Vietnam. So I grew up around military too, right? I was hearing that my whole life. Just join. Safest job in the world. I never knew what that meant. Really. That's what they said. Safest job in the world. Join, right? I'm like, oh, heck no. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Like, there was no way. I just couldn't even imagine it. So and I grew up around it. So the fact that you put your name on that dotted line, because I'm equivalent to you, I'm part of that military family. What was the motivation? How did you decide to let's go?
Well, it's probably far from what you could probably expect, but at the time I joined a little bit later in life. I joined at the age of 23. So I actually got a little bit of the civilian world, being a student in junior college. I was at College of DuPage. I was bartending at the time. So I was kind of balancing between work and just life was very mediocre. Like, there was no excitement. I've always been a person who loves extreme sports, love a challenge. And that point in my life at 23, I was just kind of bored with what life was. And, seeing my family, which I love them to death, but it just seemed like everything was pretty much just like the same. There was no change. There was no roller coaster of up and down, no excitement really in the day to day. And I was kind of like, you know what? I want to just change it up. So instead of hoping for something to change, I decided to change my atmosphere, because usually that's the key piece that we don't realize when it comes to becoming. On that journey, you have to change the atmosphere. So I decided to sign up for the United States Navy at 23. After I put my name on the dotted line, I left 3 weeks later to Great Lakes, Illinois for basic training. So it was as simple as that, just looking at my life and being like, you know what, this ain't enough for me, and just making the choice and making the change. A lot of times I make decisions rationally and just kind of evaluate the situation, and then I let my emotions catch up. So my emotions probably catched up like day 3 at basic training, but you just got to make really rational, logical decisions based on, the outcome. So that's what ended up happening on that note.
Let your emotions catch up. All right.
That's a quote. Okay. Put it on the charts.
We do another tradition here at Wolfkeeper that we've been talking about doing. And today is going to earmark the first day to make it official.
Oh, wow. Got the crowd. Okay.
I'm saying that we're going to do this because every guest we have, and you are guest 59, 59 episodes, and I'm doing it right now as we speak. I'm putting in here Wolfkeeper quotes from awesome guests, and I just forgot to quote that fast. What'd you say?
Make rational decisions based on where you want to go, and let your emotions catch up.
Let your emotions catch up. Wow, that's so powerful. Because just sometimes people just think about it, and they don't do it. And you went and did it. You joined the Navy, which I grew up with, I mean, my grandfather was a Navy vet. So Navy people are no joke. Because like growing up with one, they're no joke. So, and this is, I used to hear, he would tell me stories as a black male in the Navy in the 60s. And I know tons of, we train service dogs for veterans suffering from PTSD. So we work with a lot of veterans. I love veterans, respect veterans, need veterans. Freedom isn't free at all. We're here because of you, right? Ice Cream in the Morning podcast because of you made that possible, right? So, but what are some of the difficulties and challenges that you dealt with as a black woman veteran in the Navy? I mean, all of them are, don't get me wrong, all of them are challenging, but stereotypically, like Chanel is and we can't swim, we drown. So you got that by itself, which I want to talk about, large bodies of water. But then you think Navy, you're dealing with Navy SEALs, you're dealing with men. That's like the man. Like, I'm going to be on a body of water on this machine that can float and dive and do all this stuff. And here you are, black girl, black woman, saying, let's go, I'm putting my skills to the test. But were there things that you dealt with specifically with that as a black woman?
Well, just to go back to your comment about just being in the water, like one of my biggest fears was large bodies of water, because of course I'm from the Midwest. So the only time I got to swim was in high school when we had swimming tests and stuff like that. So one of my biggest fears was being in a large body of water. So I was like, bet, 2 birds, 1 stone. So my goal is to live a fearless life. So I was like, okay, well, eventually I'm gonna figure it out when I get there. Either I'm gonna sink or swim type of deal. So even though I could swim, I had the basics down, but jumping off a 50-foot diving board into the water and then swimming when it's yelling at you is a little bit different, or being on a ship is different. So I wanted to face those fears along the way, because I've met a lot of women who are afraid to do any and everything, from driving on the expressway to go into a park. Like, I met women with a lot of irrational fears, and I did not want to be a part of that category. So I was like, dang, I'm not really sure about the ocean, but you'll miss a lot of beautiful views based on your fears. So I was like, I'm sure I've seen the best sunsets on the ocean. I've seen the best sunrises on the ocean. So I can't imagine having that fear and expecting to see the world. The ocean is it covers most of the earth anyway. So if I decide to make that a fear, like, I'm cutting myself off from so much experience. So I was like, okay, let's do it.
I can't even, I think, and you're so competitive, I just told you got the Wolfkeeper guest quotes, and you just dropped like 5 jewels in one thing I couldn't keep up with.
So the water thing was a fear, so I won't lie to you, that was a fear, being in the Midwest. Like, you only get Lake Michigan, and I'm not discouraging. You were
afraid of because I'm afraid of the water. I won't even lie. I've been trying to take swimming classes since I try like every 4 years. I sign up for a swim class and it doesn't work out. Like, I think I can doggy paddle. I mean, I think it's not pretty. I think I can do something, but it's far from pretty. It's like water flying everywhere. Everyone's looking at me like, dude, get out the water. I'm like, I can't grasp the concept of like not going to the bottom. Like, I think, and people are watching you too. I think if I was there, if I had a stadium Olympian pool by myself, right, I could figure it out maybe without drowning. I don't know, but
the people around.
Sorry, I'm the same way too. I love the water, and was actually born in the Virgin Islands where all the beaches are. But I feel like I'm claustrophobic, so like diving my head into the water, I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe, so I'm panicking. Yeah. But I love the water.
Yeah, and I think the reason why, it's funny because everybody else around you who knows the water and respects the water, they know that it's really impossible for you to drown unless you're panicking. The truth is, the water is the saltiness, it makes you buoyant. So even if your head is below water, you can never sink. One, our body makeup is 80% water, so water on top of water doesn't sink. And if you were relaxed, you would see what everybody else sees is that you can't drown. You would have to force yourself to drown.
And I love what you said about you see a whole other world when there's water. I mean, that is so true. I mean, I had an opportunity to live in certain different places, but so in Kenya, seeing the Indian Ocean was just beautiful. Seeing the Mediterranean Sea, which is ridiculous. When I lived in California, seeing the Pacific, I made sure that I got down to see those sunsets, but I never would get in like that. I just always envied people, and so that's so awesome. So you grew up? Did you grow up swimming, or were you afraid of water growing up? or were you swimming as a?
That's the thing. So high school was the first time I kind of really hopped in the pool, but outside of that, like, no, I wasn't like a strong swimmer or anything like that. I wasn't like, I didn't grow up around water. I lived in Naperville, Illinois most of my life. So swimming at the lake was not really a thing that I got to do all the time. So I wasn't very familiar with the water, but you know what I'm saying? But it was something that I was like, okay, I'll figure it out type of deal.
So you're in the Navy. What was your position in rank?
So I was a third class petty officer, which just means kind of like a E5, I guess, or E4, I guess you would say, if you were like, you know, looking at it from Army or Air Force perspective. And I was a boatswain, which is like the crappiest job in the Navy. It's like the most traditional, old-fashioned job. So they're the ones who blow the whistle, you know, tell people to wake up, drive the boat, drive small boats. We do like major evolutions, like taking on fuel, landing kilos. We do a lot of stuff, so it's pretty much like the industrial side of the Navy. It's a very male-dominant field. So going back to that first question of the things that I faced as a Black woman, I think the first thing I had to realize is like it was a man's world there. So first I had to deal with just being a woman. So you know, being compared to everyone else because I'm a woman, so I can't do the same workload. That was always an issue. And then I dealt with my Blackness later, but it was the woman thing that really made me stand out from everyone else and really made me have to work twice as hard to earn my position and even earn my right to respect, to be honest. From
like they thought you were weaker, like they thought you couldn't handle it?
Yeah, of course, because you're a woman, like you can't lift as much, you can't move as fast, you can't run as fast. You're almost kind of like a weight, you know what I'm saying? So it was like I had to take on that persona and outperform it.
Wow.
So instead of being called that girl, then I was called Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Then I went from Thomas to Boats. You know what I'm saying? So people, you know, before they'd be like, oh, the girl or the Black girl, then they're like, oh, Thomas, because then they say she can pull her weight. And then they're like, oh, Boats, because now I'm in charge.
Wow. So you had to go.
I bet a guy can't have a baby now.
Right. But you know what? That's looked down on when you're pregnant in the military. They're like, you got one job, and how can you do that pregnant? Because then once you become pregnant, you can't work as hard as everyone else. So then you're sitting in the office with your feet up while your other counterparts are doing double your work. You know what I'm saying? So the little perks of being a woman that you might have, it's frowned upon in the military because it's taken away from productivity. Because the Navy is a business.
We can't do anything. Like we have more power than that.
Yeah, I totally get that. But when you step into other people's world, as in Rome, do what the Romans do. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of one of those attitudes. And I didn't join a group to stand out. I joined the group to fit in and do what I needed to do to fit in. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of one of those camaraderie, you know, a family type of deal.
So, but you had to fight then. I like what you just said, and that's for all little Black girls that are out there that are 4 or 5 or 8 that have aspirations to join the military. That is a real thing. Some people grow up and that's what they know they want to do. Some people know they want to be, you know, doctors. Some people know they want to be artists. Some people know that they grow up, they're going to do ROTC. They're going to do Cub Scouts. They're going to do ROTC. That was my ex-girlfriend, God bless her soul, who joined the Air Force. She just knew all throughout high school. She just knew she was going to there. I respect that so much. That's like, that gets mad props. But you said that you went from that girl to that Black girl to your last name, Thomas. So you had to go through like 4 levels before they actually respected you. Yeah,
for sure. It definitely was you had to earn your place. But I mean, just like I came in with young people too, so I mean every guy did, but they were a little bit on the upper hand, like, okay, you're a guy, so I expect you to work a certain level. I expect, like they set the standard, like I expect you to do this. I don't expect you to whine. I don't expect you to do these things. So, you know, they come in with a standard, and then the woman's standard seems to be for performance and stuff like that seems to be a little bit lower.
So what do you feel what motivated you to get through all that? Because I mean, I know a lot of people that got into boot camp and they quit, or they were like the whole time, once they got a boot camp, they're like, I'm cool, I'm done, this is not for me. But you stayed in it. You have, you know, a super positive, you know, talking to you prior to this, you have a very positive outlook on it. What motivated you to stay in it and to power through and not quit?
There's no crying in baseball. there's no quitting. Like, I don't respond to that. I don't respond to quitting or something. Hardness does not equivalent to impossible to me. So it's like, okay, this is hard. This is not what I expected, but I'm here, and I signed the dotted line for 4 years. So what you about to do? Like, like, it's not one of those things where you just, oh, you know what, this is not working for me. Like, this ain't no temp job. I knew what I signed up for. I read the brochure. I talked to the recruiter. I trained and worked out for this. This is what I prepared for. So when it becomes more than what I can handle, I just pray myself through it for the most part.
Amen.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of your biggest challenges while you were there, though? Any particular stories that stand out? Like, wow, like today, this is just
running in boot camp. I hated it so much. So for me, like, when I was younger, I took care of my brothers and sisters, so I wasn't really in sports, but I was active, you know what I'm saying, when school came and working, you know, hanging out with my friends, doing active things, but I hated running. So there would be times where we'd be running 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, you know what I'm saying, we'd be running, and I'm just like, yo, I hate this. I really hate it. I had a bunkmate who broke her leg, or something happened where she had to stay in boot camp. She was there for like 6 months when I met her. So she could not advance until she healed up, but she liked to run. So she's all healed up and she's running. And one night she told me her story. She's like, yeah, man, I hurt my leg and I've been here for 6 months, but you know what? Running, you know, I just zone out and I just do it. So every time we would run, she would run in front of me and kind of, you know, look back at me like, come on now, like you can do it. But running is something that's a part of the military. You run every morning, you run in group. So running was something that I was just like, I hate this so bad. Like, but I did it to the point where I was like, all right, just get it over with. The faster you run, the quicker it's over with. So don't drag it. So it's funny because then later in my military career, I became an assistant fitness leader, which helped everyone else pass their run, pass their push-ups and sit-ups. So that's kind of how I got into fitness, because as much as I hate running, I'm still not a fan of it. I'll do it, and I train others to get over the things that they don't want to do. So it took me to say, okay, I don't like this, but it's necessary. So running is what I hated a lot.
Well, would you do the military again?
Actually, yeah, I'm actually thinking about it right now. I am in seminary, so if I were to go back to the military, I would go for a military chaplain.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would definitely think about it. I mean, it was an experience, and I kind of almost felt like I was like an undercover spy. I see what the needs of the sailors are. I see the politics behind it, and now that I know, I can come back and actually be effective, actually know exactly what to hit, because I've been there. I've been that sailor. I've been on deployment. I've traveled. I've been, you know, a woman, you know, in a junior position. So I feel like I would be effective as a chaplain. So yeah, I would even go back as an officer, definitely.
So a thing that's unfortunately, we have this little thing called COVID that's been going on. I don't know if you've heard of this thing.
Yeah, I know a few people who've actually, you know, had it and got over it. So yeah.
So there's this COVID going on, then there's this whole little global racial wars that are happening, popping up everywhere. And a few of my friends that I know that are Black military and Black police officers have had different stances on it. And then a thing that I found fascinating was that some of my friends that aren't police officers, but they're military, right? And I think that if there's any so-called hierarchy of, you know, local municipalities with police and then National Guard here and then actual military here, they've had different stances on how the situations are being handled, you know, with the social unrest. What's your stance on right now as far as how military, because in Minnesota, for example, I was talking to my friend, she was like, I mean, they had, at one point in time, they had tanks. The National Guard was called out. I mean, same thing with Kenosha, you know, the National Guard was called out. So what's your stance on the military right now in this days of COVID and social unrest?
Because I have that military background, when COVID broke out, early March, and kind of lockdown started, my whole motto for the whole thing is just a drill. Just to see how far you can push the envelope, how far can I control you with fear, how far can we go with your obedience. So it's just a drill. And that's how I look at it as a drill. I look at it as almost the president is the chief of the commander in chief. So I was like, okay, what we gotta do? Okay, I gotta wear this mask. Like, what else am I gonna do? Like, it's not like because I'm so military minded. Okay, this is what I need to do to get through this. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Show myself, because
I think the fact that like everybody needs to be military, because I think that's why our cases are rising. Because
people are not disciplined. They want. They have an issue with authoritative things. They want parented right. So that just comes out in how you adult. So if you don't respect authority as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, what's going to change?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So people just don't, they act, you know, it's a reflection of what they believe is a reflection of their actual, like, their life practice. It's like, oh, you don't listen to nobody. It's not just because it's the president, it's because you don't listen to no one. You have no authority figures in your life. You're accountable to no one. So that's why you act that way. So it makes sense.
And me being from a military family, back when COVID happened, I'm just a little draconian, and I'm old school, Catholic school, nuns. You mean, like all that structure, right? Discipline, hardcore, right? Growing up with a kindergarten teacher and military, right? My whole life was pretty much structured. I said, declare martial law back in March 1st, right when they had COVID. If you're if you're president of the United States of America and I'm in charge of the Department of Justice and every other department that can enforce martial law, would you have passed martial law that early, or would you let things set to see what happens?
I would have probably did it sooner. I had a close friend who was in Hong Kong in November, and she said that things were already taking place and COVID broke out then. So the truth is we waited too late, probably like 6 months too late. So this is something that it wasn't new to us in March, but I mean, there were outbreaks and people taking measures in other countries in November, December.
So you had been down for martial law before March?
Yeah.
Dang, I love you. Because
if it's my job to protect the people, I mean, if it's my job to protect the people, do your job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
what about people that have been like, oh my God? Because when I posted on my Facebook page in March, and some people were like, take that down. You can't say that. You're I'm like, this is just not even thinking about a George Floyd. This is just, hey, there's a situation that's causing everyone to stay inside. There's something happening, whether you believe in it or not. There's clearly something that's killing people, right? Whatever you want to call it. We need some kind of structure, get in front of it. But what would you say to people that are just, and obviously some places don't want to even enforce martial law, even when their cities are currently on fire. How do you feel about that? Like, what would you say to those places?
If some people just need to learn by, I guess, experience. So there's some people who are like, oh, you know, my rights. And I'm like, okay, well, responsibility and rights. So how effective, like, I guess we have rights, but we also have to be responsible. So as a political figure, I want to protect your rights. So I have a responsibility to put other policies and procedures in place. And I think it just takes a level of maturity and education to know that, yes, it's my right to do whatever I want, to wear whatever I want, face mask or no face mask. But my freedom goes as far as jeopardizing someone else's freedom. You know what I'm saying? So you're as free as you want to be until you hurt someone else. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're as free as you want to be, but your boundary is disrespecting someone else. Those are your boundaries. So if you don't know those boundaries, AKA, like, you know what I'm saying, you have an elderly neighbor that's sick, but you're healthy and young, you might beat it, your neighbor not. So why not take that safety measure to protect your neighbor? So it's kind of like implementing some type of value system and responsibility into your community. Like, you know what I'm saying? I look at it deeper than that. It's just not me flexing my authority because I can. It's just trying to make people safe based on the information I receive. Whether it's BS or not, even as a military, I had to do things like, this is silly, but you told me to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Can we have Sharay Thomas? Can we have you run for president in 2024?
Maybe 28 or something. Who knows?
28?
Yeah.
Come on, 2024. Let's push for that.
Well, obviously, you guys are voting for people who are like 80 years old, so I got enough time to do what I want to do and then run the country later. Y'all voting for dinosaurs.
So man, I'm glad that we're digging deep into like your military mind. I have a military fetish. I can talk about military all day because I grew up with it. I respect it. I mean, shout out to all the people that are at home. A lot of military people, we're going through a lot because unfortunately we're averaging, up from 20 to 25 veterans that take their life every day due to post-traumatic stress syndrome. I know 3 people that have taken their lives during the whole COVID crisis, if you call it. That's been super terrible. And a lot of that has to do with mental illness. And I know that you transitioned into being a yogi. You're a phenomenal fitness trainer. Your stance on that, which anyone that wants to sign up with you, I highly recommend, because obviously you're not just getting a fitness trainer, you're getting a former veteran that's been pushed to the max by one of the most supreme militaries in the world. So you're getting that. And then also too, you're a spiritual inspiration and everything you're doing with that. But let's talk about those 3 things. Let's start with, how do you transition from military to wanting to get involved professionally in the fitness world?
Fitness is just like, you have to be fit. Like, that's one of the things to even survive in the military. For the most part, to at least get in, you got to do a certain, you have to have a certain capacity for fitness. So once I did that, I realized that it wasn't so bad and I actually enjoyed it. And then, I mean, it's so serious to the fact that if you don't, pass your quarterly fitness evaluation, that you could easily get kicked out of the military and, have to find another income for your family, which is a big deal. So I just thought that it was crazy that you would literally jeopardize your career over fitness. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wanted to be effective. So I did whatever I had to do to become an assistant fitness leader for the command. And that was to help people who were on the verge of getting separated if they didn't pass the test. So I started working with them after my regular work hours and just help them in the gym, or friends who were like, you know what, I need to lose a few pounds. So, after work, I would go to the gym and then people would be like, hey, can you train me, or can you help me out, or, whatever. So I kind of got into it that way. So when I got out, I was like, well, bet, like, I'll just do fitness, because at the time it was something that I enjoy, and it wasn't a chore anymore at that point. And so that transition really helped. And I did see a lot in the military. So what really did help me with the mental health is from going from an all-male field to going through yoga instructor school. And that was like a 200-hour course where I was with women for like 2 to 3 days out of the week doing this course. So that really just submerged me back into femininity and being in peaceful setting. And it really was a good transition point for me, as well as therapy along the way. So those 2 combinations, a physical outlet and then a counseling outlet, those 2 things really helped me transition smoothly and to figure out the middle.
Now, when you're training someone, if you're working with a person in your fitness, do you get military on them? Do you scream at them? Like,
no, because
come on, Raj, one more, give me 10 more. Like, I can't do it, Miss Thomas. Shut up, give it more. Come on.
You know what? I work with mostly women, so that approach doesn't necessarily work. You know what I'm saying? So I've gotten to know people so that it doesn't take all that.
You don't need all that. So
not at all. Especially if you're paying top dollar. Say it again.
If Chanel hires you, you're not going to scream at her.
No, I don't have to, because at the end of the day, I choose the clients that I want, for one, and they're all hard working and they're about their money. So if they're paying top dollar to have an hour of my time, you're going to do what I say for that hour. You've already paid for the hour, so either we're going to look at each other or you're going to work. It's like one of those things.
All right, Chanel.
Even if you did holler at me, that's what I'm used to, because I get that on a day-to-day basis from Toriano.
Oh, Lord.
I only scream and tell you to stop bringing me ice cream. I'm trying to steam making my stomach poke out. All right, so, but that's so awesome, because you're doing fitness and then you're doing yogi too, because that's so awesome and amazing. Which I just love that juxtaposition of military and yogi. So you're like, what a juxtaposition and a contradiction at the same time, because and you're willing to go back into the military. Do you have like any internal struggles with that aside? Because some people would say, how are you even thinking about, I mean, that's a level of war. I mean, at the end of the day, at the same time, you know, it's a level of peace, which is kind of like anti-war, especially like with being a yogi.
So that's the crazy part. So I did yoga, not necessarily, well, it was for me to know the principles to teach someone else. So I was getting a lot of clients that were injured, who were elderly, and who just were not flexible. So as a trainer, it's my responsibility to learn the tools that you need to be successful. So when I did the yoga, it was so that I could rehab clients who came in unflexible, not able to even do the workout that I presented to them because they just weren't flexible, and they just, you know, had a lot of prior injury. So the yoga really helped push them into flexibility, which helped them build strength. But for me, yoga is about an internal piece, not an external piece. And it's also a discipline. So when you look at the military, it's a discipline, and yoga is a discipline. Mind, body, and soul, yoking your mind to be present, that's a discipline. For me to meditate for an hour, that takes discipline. So it's still a discipline for me. Like discipline, like always crosses over. So for me, I have an internal piece within myself, and I don't subscribe to the history. I don't necessarily practice the yogi life point by point. I take the principles from it. So if a truth doesn't necessarily match my natural truth as a Christian, what I do is I take the principles from it, stretching, stuff like that. But I don't take the mantras and all that stuff. I don't take it that far because that doesn't line up with my lifestyle. So I don't live there. Where I live is as a strong Black woman. I'm a Christian, I'm a veteran. So I have those principles, but there's so many other avenues that the principles still work. You know what I'm saying? The principles still work. So the flexibility still works. So I don't subscribe to a lot of the things that I learned in school, but I value the principles and the discipline. So I kind of do it like that. So I have no internal conflict. I have peace in every circumstance. Whether I'm a student, whether I'm a soldier, like I just have that contentment. That's what I walk away from, and non-attachment.
I love you. You're so amazing. Sharay and I, we met each other, we instantly vibed. And why I wanted her on this show, because a lot of my clients, before I can train your dog, I have to address what's going on in their life, because the dog is just a final manifestation of what's going on in your life. You can't own certain dogs without being active. Any dog, but especially if you go out and buy, some German Shepherd or German Short-haired Pointer or African Hound, because dogs want to run. They want to jump, they want to climb, they want an active person. But then we have to address fitness. We have to address what you're fueling your body with. It's kind of like the same thing. I resonate with what you said, because it's not that I love to eat. I love the grubhub.com, like right here inside of my belly. But I just, certain things I can't do, or I'll get bit. Because if the dogs will know I'm off, they're the final barometer. So I'm totally feeling that. So that's one thing I want people to take away that are listening to this. Thank you so much. But call Sharay up, because definitely that will help you with your dog training and help you with your life. I mean, it's so elementary. I mean, relationships, love, happiness, your job, your dog, what you put in your body, and you pushing your body to the max. And this week actually has been an amazing week, because we talked to Fatima, who's a yogi. She does Thai massage. And she's a nutritionist. We talked to the Helix Weaver guys yesterday about growing their own agriculture, which they were bringing up, that people don't know how to grow their own food, that we're assuming that things aren't going to fall apart where you have to grow your own food. And today we're talking to you, Sharay Thomas, about personal training, fitness, you and the fortitude you had to get through the military, which want to bring me up to what I want to talk about before we go is you joining seminary school, because that's just so amazing. You just hear about all the police brutality, you hear about the excessive force. Someone posted our private Wolfkeeper police, Chanelli Nail, had to shut someone down yesterday that was going nuts. We should have just read it. We had a guest that was saying, "You idiot Americans, blah blah blah." Which some people, I freedom of expression, right? Because they're like, "What are you all doing? You all always bullying the rest of the world, and now you guys can't control. You have riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin." I think it's comical. Good for her for saying that, right? You all want to blow stuff up over here. But, I mean, you're part of one of the most powerful militaries in the world, right? You're a black woman, so that's like tenfold. No one better not mess with you at all because you can defend yourself. But then here you are, a yogi, and you're in seminary school. Like, where did seminary school come from after joining the military?
I always say that, like, even though, like, my dad had 5 girls, I feel like maybe I would have been that borderline. I could have been a boy, just with my mentality, because I think that serving your country, serving your God is like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a mantra: serve God, serve country, and put yourself maybe at the last of that list. But if you take care of your God, your country, your family, they'll take care of you, type of thing. Seminary kind of came from me being a theology major. I just finished that this year, bachelor's in theology. And I realized that, I've always been a Christian, but I didn't know how to defend my faith. I didn't know the text. I kind of was one of the Christians where I just kind of quote someone else's quote and then say that that's my truth, not having proof that my truth is real. So a lot of times people are carrying the notion of, this is my truth, I walk in my truth, and it renders no fruit. It has no proof behind it. And you just rock with it. And the truth is, my life, what I've been through, what I've overcome, I put my faith in Christ. When I was in very hard situations, it was only Christ that got me through it. And he's been my fruit. And the fact that I'm still sane, and the fact that I'm still wanting to go to the military to snatch souls and to encourage people, that shows that there's some type of divinity within me. And that is the fruit that it shows in my labor. Like, he's with me. So being in seminary is another discipline. Military, yoga, seminary, it's another discipline. So now I'm learning to defend my faith, and I'm also learning not necessarily to, Bible bash anyone, but my goal as a Christian is for you to experience God, for you to experience me. Some type of enlightenment, some type of wisdom, something that I can make your life better, whether it's faith or fitness. You're going to walk away from me changed. You're going to walk away from me thinking. You're going to experience the divine God in me through the way I speak to you, the way I show love to you, the way I look at you. I want you to experience God through interaction with me, and that's what seminary is kind of grooming me to do. And at the end of the day, it's a sheet of paper so that I can go to those atmospheres and do that. Like, I'm doing clinical pastoral education at Lutheran General Hospital. I'm on the cardiac floor. But if I don't get certified as a chaplain, I would not be allowed to be there. So a lot of times you have to take routes and do the jumping through hula hoops to get certified so that you can be qualified to stand in the room with those impact. So it's not necessarily all about Christian religion, blah, blah. It's so I can get into rooms that I need to be in to touch people and save lives. So if I need to get this sheet of paper for 3 years of training, it's totally worth it. If I get to save 100 lives, 10 lives, 1 life, like, who cares about the 3 years I took? At the end of the day, like, theology has ripped my theology apart. Seminary has made me break down who I am as a person and say, Sharay, what do you really believe and where do you live? You subscribe to all these notions and isms and ist and all these things, but where do you live? Where do you spiritually live? What group of people are you meant to touch? So it's like, you can do the work to get where you need to go. Say it again.
No, you said, where do you spiritually live? And I just got to ask this question because we keep it real here on Wolfkeeper land. So because you're military, I'm just recapping here, because you got the military background going on, yogi, fitness instructor, and seminary. And I just had a whole conversation with a friend of mine about men being intimidated by her just because she's a fitness trainer. And she's like, I'm in shape. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't drink. I'm not trying to eat certain stuff. And the guy made this comment about her. Like, I'm like, who makes a comment about you? You're like super in shape. But she has this problem with dating guys so you're like, military, I can beat you up, I can help you be fit, and I can pray for you all at the same time. Right? So like, do you have trouble dating? Do you freak men out then, or is that by you?
I've left the dating up to the Lord to send whoever He wants to send into my life on that note. But to be honest, it's been a little bit challenging, and it was because I try to downplay who I am to attract a weaker person. And in the end, it won't work. In the end, it won't work. So I'd rather just develop myself into whatever God is calling me to be, and then I will be presented to that right person. You know what I'm saying? So I can't downplay. Like, I would go on dates and not tell anybody that I was in the military, not tell them I was in fitness. I wouldn't say anything. I just like, hey, let's kick it. And to be honest, guys, they're so infatuated with the way I look, they're not asking no questions either. So by the time I just like, okay, this app is over, boom, this is who I am. They're like, dang, girl, like, I just signed up for this. So after so many failed relationships and me like being like Miss Priss, and then all of a sudden something happens and I'm like lifting the couch to find my wallet, they're like, girl, like, you're not who you said you were. And I'm like, dang, you found my superpower. Like, okay, I'm strong as hell. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was living this lie. And then as soon as I start walking in my truth, now I meet really great men. You know what I'm saying? I have a great dating life. Like, you know, everything is great. So now I'm living who I am, and really people who can handle it, they know it from a mile away. It's almost like walking past like a Tiffany or a Gucci store. Not everybody's gonna walk in because they know they ain't got the money. Right. So a lot of guys will just pass me up because they know I don't want, like, this is like, that's not what I'm looking for. And a lot of times that energy just reflects out of me, and I'm not being domineering at all. I'm comfortable and I can breathe in my femininity, but I guess the energy that I exude, you gotta come correct.
Hey man, Helen, boom! Come correct, it don't come at all.
That's all. So dating has been challenging, but as I get authentic with my journey and who I am, I attract really great people. So
that's awesome. No, you just made me think of that because fun fact about me, a lot of people don't know, which I admire for you, because in Catholic school, I was pursuing, I wanted to be in the seminary. And when you say you want to be in the seminary, people get all crazy. Like,
they do.
That turned me off by itself. I have wanted nothing. And probably the same thing with military. There's two things if you say you're going to do. In fact, flashback. I did pursue it for a second. The military thing, that was just way too overwhelming for me. That's why I admire people, because it was like, you get flooded. Everyone's now want to sign you up. I'm like, dude, this is no, thank you. Same thing with seminary. Like, oh my God, you want to be a father? Like, so that's cool because you're, I mean, no offense, you're young, you mean? So to say you're in the seminary all of a sudden, you know, oh wow, we can't kick with you, or we can't curse around Sharay, or we can't drink around Sharay.
I had a lot of friends that backed up off me,
Right.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends back up off me and be like, oh, okay. Like, you know, kind of give you the eyebrow, like, okay, like, why you want to do something like that? And it's just like, that's just where I felt pulled. That's where I feel God calling me to. So I went through several seasons of isolation and loneliness, and people not journey, and I had to embrace that too, because different seasons require different diets. And at the end of the day, because I have Christ, whatever he's serving in that season, I have to eat it. So if it's isolation, no friends, poverty, whatever the case may be, whatever's on my plate that's going to make me stronger, I have to eat it. And there's been a lot of relationships I had to eat it, walk away from people, walk away from lifestyles. I had to eat it. That's what he was serving. He was serving consecration, separation, loneliness. And in those seasons, I can speak to the lonely person and put language in pain now. So it's just like a lot of the things that I go through, it's not even for me. Yeah. And so I just have to know that I have to eat it and just be graceful and know that I'm going to be okay. And it feels even better when someone goes through it. And I'm like, hey, I've been there. Like, you have to be everything so that you can touch everyone. But if you've never been broke, if you've never been lonely, if you've never been rejected, there's a whole sector of people in this world that are rejected and you can't relate. How can you reach what you don't relate to? So I know it. It's a journey.
Why you bring us to church on a Friday? Oh my God.
Listen, we need it every day, daily. We got to die to ourselves daily. We got to carry our burdens and carry our cross daily. So it's just a daily walk, and not every day I get it right. Some days I'm like, you know what? You finna get these hands. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's some days where I'm just like, I'm not having it. And then there's certain days where God's grace comes in and says, let them live. And I'm like, okay. I'm still being transformed. I'm not perfect. I'm still working on that transformation. And it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? My old ways start to come out when I'm afraid and I'm in a new place and I don't know how to respond. I'll respond like my old self because I don't know my new self. Yeah. So I'm far from perfect. But my real friends who know it and like, oh, you seminary, cool, whatever you want to do. Like, they're like eating popcorn, watching my life. Like, girl, this is good. Like, what's next? What you finna do next? And they're inspired. So a lot of our friends are like, girl, go for it. Let's see what you got. Like, let's see what your guy can do. And that's what it's been.
My final question today? What's a fun fact, something that person does not know about Miss Sharay Thomas? What's a fun fact?
I like to dance and I write poetry.
Yeah.
So bachata, merengue, salsa, tango, those are like, I love doing stuff like that. And then poetry, I'm a big writer of poetry. I've been doing it for like 10 years. Probably 20 years. I'm going to say I started when I was 4 years old.
Look at you, like, come on. Like, you military, yoga trainer, seminary, flamenco dancer, and you write poetry. Come on, who are you, Sharay Thomas?
That's the daily question.
Stop trying to be the ideal person. Look at you. Like,
I would love to be a Renaissance woman. You always hear about the Renaissance man that's lived and done a million things. I'm like the Dos Equis woman. Okay, I'm like the Dos Equis woman.
Who is she?
That's what it looks like it's becoming. So catch me when I turn 40 and let's see where I'm at.
No, I'm making fun, but you're super dope. I just remember meeting you, like, man, she's hella dope. I mean, we talked, we hung out, and I'm just all about fitness, and I feel blessed for all the people that were brought on here through fitness. Where can someone find you if they want to sign up for your personal classes?
All right, so because of COVID, I do everything virtually, so you can always hit me up on Slay with Shay. That's my IG. You can always direct message me there, or you can send me an email at slaywithshay.info. So that's always, you can always email me if you like. You can hit me up on Facebook. I have a fan page, Slay with Shay. So you can always direct message me. I only take like 10 clients per season. So the fall is coming up. I start my next program Monday during the holidays. So I only take 10 clients at a time virtually because I do I do meal plans. I put them through a program. So you just hire me to train session by session, but it's an actual program. Affirmation, daily devotion. It's geared towards a Christian-friendly brand. So you get devotion, you get meditation, you get all those things for me. So I can only handle 10 clients per season.
Wow, I love that exclusive vibe. And
Slay with Shay.
Slay with Shay. You can find me on IG,
like I'm slaying them.
Twitter.
S-H-A-E, right?
Shay, S-H-A-Y.
So slay, like I'm slaying them.
Yeah, like all those fears, all them doubts, all them pounds, slay it, kill it. It has to die.
She is on fire today. Slay with Shay. Okay, we got that. So Slay with Shay on IG, Facebook, and only 10. So there's only 10 spots. You're hearing it exclusive right here on Wolfkeeper podcast.
And 5 are already filled, so I can only take like 5 more clients.
Only 5 left. Let's fill them up right now on the Wolfkeeper show. Tell them that the Wolfkeeper sent you to Slay with Shay. She is super duper phenomenal. We just took an entire hour of your life and just made it even that much more amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Welcome home. I mean, it's just so many different I don't even know. I feel invited as always. And
you could maybe think about.
I want to go out and just have a phenomenal weekend. Get your fitness on. If you want to party,
it's 10 the next hour.
Do something.
Relaxing, just stop your day before you go into the clock.
Take this inspiration. Troy, I'm saying, Tony Wolfkeeper, my phenomenal guest today, Sharay Thomas.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Co-host Shelly Nell, as always. Thank you for all the listeners. And I'm the Wolfkeeper. Peace out. Until next time. See you all.
Peace.
Peace.
Right now.